The Voidborn arrived on a Tuesday. Later, historians would note the cruel irony that humanity's greatest challenge began on the most mundane of weekdays. Commander Naomi Harrison stood at the observation deck of Luna Base, watching Earth's atmosphere ignite with streaks of bioorganic ships that resembled crystalline jellyfish, their translucent bodies pulsing with internal light. Status report, she barked into her comm, maintaining her composure even as junior officers around her descended into barely controlled panic. Multiple entry points detected, Commander, Lieutenant Raj Patel responded, his voice steady despite the chaos. They're targeting our major population centers, but something's odd. Their attack pattern doesn't match any known military strategy. Harrison narrowed her eyes at the tactical display. The alien ships were indeed moving in peculiar formations, almost like they were performing an elaborate dance rather than launching an invasion. They're showing off, she realized, a smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. They think this is their victory lap. The Voidborn had made their intentions clear in their first transmission: surrender or extinction. Their bioorganic technology was supposedly superior to anything humanity had ever developed. Their ships could heal themselves, their weapons evolved mid-battle, and their soldiers were merged with living armor that adapted to any threat. What they hadn't counted on was humanity's greatest weapon: psychological warfare. Launch Operation Carnival, Harrison commanded, receiving immediate confirmation from her staff. Across Earth's defense network, a carefully orchestrated plan sprang into action. Instead of meeting the aliens with conventional military resistance, humanity responded with something far more devastating: ridicule. Every communications channel, every broadcast frequency, every digital billboard in every major city suddenly began playing carefully curated content. Clips of the aliens' menacing first contact message remixed with laugh tracks. Their imposing bioships compared side by side with images from children's cartoons. Their threats of extinction overlaid with circus music. "Ma'am," Patel called out, confusion evident in his voice, "we're detecting fluctuations in their formation. Their ships they're breaking pattern." Harrison nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. The first phase was working. The Voidborn, so proud of their supposed superiority, were facing something their hive-mind consciousness couldn't process: human irreverence in the face of extinction. "Launch the Mockingbirds," she ordered. Across Earth's orbit, specially designed satellites activated, broadcasting a carefully crafted signal directly into the aliens' bioneural network. Not an attack, not a virus, but something far more insidious: human laughter. Millions of recordings of human laughter, from children's giggles to deep belly laughs, all carefully modulated to penetrate the frequencies the Voidborn used for communication. The effect was immediate and devastating. The crystalline ships began to move erratically, their formations dissolving into chaos. The Voidborn's greatest strength, their connected consciousness, became their greatest weakness. The confusion and indignation of each individual alien amplified across their network, creating a feedback loop of emotional disruption. "They're pulling back," Patel announced, wonder in his voice. First wave retreating from London, now Beijing. New York. Harrison allowed herself a small smile. "Prepare Phase 2. Contact Dr. Isabella Reyes at the Xenobiology Institute. Tell her she has green light for Project Mirror." As the alien ships withdrew to high orbit, Harrison reflected on the irony of the situation. The Voidborn had expected humanity to respond with fear, with desperate military action, with pleas for mercy. Instead, they got memes and mockery, their threatening message turned into viral entertainment within hours of their arrival. But this was just the beginning. The real battle would start when they realized that humanity wasn't just laughing at them, we were learning from them. In the labs beneath Luna Base, Dr. Reyes and her team were already analyzing the bioorganic debris from the brief skirmishes, preparing to turn the aliens' own evolutionary advantages against them. "Command," a new voice crackled over the comm, "we're detecting massive energy buildups in the alien fleet. They appear to be preparing for a second wave." Harrison straightened her uniform, eyes fixed on the shimmering ships above. "Good," she said. "Let them come. This time, we'll show them that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology or our military might. It's our ability to adapt, to find humor in darkness, and to turn an enemy's strength into their greatest weakness." The second wave of alien ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, their crystalline forms now pulsing with angry red energy. But this time, humanity was ready. In labs and bunkers across the globe, scientists and soldiers prepared to demonstrate why you should never underestimate a species that turned its own existential dread into entertainment. The real war was about to begin, and humanity's laughter would be the first shot fired. Dr. Isabella Reyes hadn't slept in 48 hours, but the data streaming across her holographic display was better than any caffeine. In the secure labs beneath Luna Base, she and her team had made a breakthrough that could change the course of the war. "Run it again," she commanded, her dark eyes fixed on the neural patterns extracted from captured void-born biomatter. The simulation played out once more, human laughter frequencies cascading through the alien neural pathways like ripples in a pond, creating chaos in what should have been ordered thought patterns. "It's not just disrupting their communication," Dr. Kai Yoshida observed, his fingers dancing across the control panel. "The laughter is actually creating emotional resonance. Their neural network doesn't just share information, it shares feelings." Isabella nodded, a plan forming in her mind. "They're not just a hive mind. They're an empathy network." She pulled up another display, showing footage from the first battle. "Look at their retreat pattern. When we broadcast the laughter, it didn't just confuse them. It embarrassed them. And that embarrassment multiplied across their entire network," Kai finished, eyes widening. "One soldier's shame became thousands. Above them, through layers of lunar rock and reinforced bunkers, the second wave of the void-born assault continued. But here in the lab, humanity's scientists were crafting a weapon more powerful than any conventional arms. "Get me Commander Harrison," Isabella ordered, her voice tight with excitement. "I know how we can win this." The connection was established within moments. Harrison's holographic form materialized in the lab, her uniform slightly disheveled from hours of battle coordination. "This better be good, Doctor. We're losing ground in Southeast Asia." Isabella launched into her explanation, pulling up neural maps and battle footage. "The Voidborn aren't just connected, Commander. They're emotionally entangled. Their neural network doesn't just coordinate their actions, it amplifies their emotional states. When one feels fear, they all feel fear," Harrison finished, her expression shifting from exhaustion to interest. "That's why the laughter worked." "Exactly. But we can do more than just disrupt them. We can weaponize their own emotions against them." Isabella brought up new simulations. "We've isolated the frequency patterns that trigger specific emotional responses. Fear, confusion, shame, we can broadcast these directly into their network." Harrison's hologram leaned forward. "You're talking about psychological warfare on a species-wide scale." "Better," Isabella corrected. "I'm talking about emotional virus warfare. We inject the right emotional triggers into their network, and they'll tear themselves apart from the inside." The commander was silent for a long moment, considering the implications. "What do you need?" "Access to all Earth's broadcasting stations." "And?" Isabella hesitated. "I need volunteers. People willing to undergo neural scanning while experiencing extreme emotions. The more authentic the emotional patterns, the more effective the weapon." "You'll have it. All of it." Harrison's hologram flickered. "But work fast, Doctor. Those bioships are getting closer to cracking our orbital defenses." As Harrison's image faded, Isabella turned to her team. "Start calibrating the scanners. We need to map every laugh, every cry, every scream of defiance in the human emotional spectrum." Over the next 24 hours, the lab became a theater of human emotion. Soldiers shared their battle stories, triggering waves of courage and determination. Comedians performed their best material, generating genuine laughter. Even the scientists themselves contributed, their frustrations and breakthroughs adding to the emotional database. Each emotional pattern was analyzed, refined, and weaponized. The Voidborn had evolved their perfect neural network over millennia, but they had never encountered anything like the chaotic spectrum of human feelings. Final calibration complete, Kai announced, his voice hoarse from exhaustion. The emotional payload is ready for deployment. Isabella stared at the final compilation of human emotional patterns, now transformed into a weapon that could penetrate the alien neural network. It was beautiful in its complexity, a symphony of human feeling that would cascade through the Voidborn consciousness like a tsunami. "Begin broadcast," she ordered, her finger hovering over the activation control. "Let's show them what real evolution looks like." As the emotional weapon launched into space, riding the same frequencies the Voidborn used for communication, Isabella watched the tactical displays with held breath. The first signs of impact were subtle, slight disruptions in ship formations, hesitation in attack patterns. Then it hit fully. The massive alien fleet, which had been pressing its advantage against Earth's defenses, suddenly erupted into chaos. Bioships collided with each other as their pilots were overwhelmed by waves of human emotion. Some vessels simply stopped, their crews paralyzed by the intensity of feelings they had never experienced before. "It's working," Kai whispered, watching the displays. "Their entire network is cascading." Isabella allowed herself a small smile. Humanity's greatest weakness just became our strongest weapon. "Send word to Commander Harrison, tell her to prepare Operation Mockingbird. It's time to show the Voidborn what happens when you underestimate the power of human emotion." The battle for Earth was far from over, but in a secure lab beneath the lunar surface, humanity had just changed the rules of engagement. The Voidborn had come expecting to find a technologically inferior species. Instead, they found themselves drowning in the one thing their perfect neural network had never evolved to handle, the raw, chaotic power of human feelings. Major Darius Wells stood in the heart of the Global Information Warfare Center, surrounded by walls of holographic displays showing real-time data streams from around the world. Each screen represented a different front in humanity's most ambitious psychological operation ever attempted. "Status report on Mockingbird protocols," he commanded, his voice carrying across the bustling command center. Captain Zara Singh, his head of digital operations, responded without looking up from her console. "Phase 1 successfully deployed across all channels. The Voidborn's communication network is saturated with our content." What had started as simple mockery had evolved into something far more sophisticated. Operation Mockingbird wasn't just about broadcasting laughter anymore, it was about infiltrating and subverting the entire alien command structure through carefully crafted disinformation. "Show me the primary feed," Darius ordered. The main screen lit up with their masterpiece, a perfect recreation of the Voidborn's bioneural communications, indistinguishable from the real thing. Within these transmissions were carefully crafted lies, false orders, and most devastatingly, seeds of doubt about their own leadership. "Confirmation from Dr. Reyes' team," Zara announced. "The emotional resonance patterns are holding steady. Every fake transmission we send carries the authentic emotional signature of absolute certainty." That had been the key breakthrough. It wasn't enough to simply forge alien communications, they had to feel real to the Voidborn's emotionally linked neural network. Each false message was encoded with the emotional patterns of unwavering confidence, making them virtually impossible for the aliens to distinguish from genuine commands. "Field report coming in from the Asian front," Lieutenant Omar Patel called out. "Voidborn forces are showing signs of confusion. 3 bioship squadrons just attacked each other near the Korean peninsula." Darius allowed himself a grim smile. The beauty of Operation Mockingbird lay in its simplicity. They didn't need to defeat the Voidborn military, they just had to make them defeat themselves. "Launch Phase 2, he ordered. "Begin the leadership fragmentation protocol." Across the global network, a new wave of transmissions began. These messages, crafted with surgical precision, suggested that certain void-born commander cells had been compromised by human influence. The accusations were completely false, but they carried the full emotional weight of righteous anger and betrayal. "Sir," Zara called out, excitement creeping into her voice, "we're detecting massive spikes in emotional disturbance throughout their network. The trust cascade is beginning." The trust cascade, that's what Dr. Reyes had called it. Once doubt took root in the Voidborn's neural network, it would spread like a virus, amplified by their own emotional connections. Every suspicious glance, every moment of hesitation, every flash of distrust would be felt by thousands of others, creating a feedback loop of paranoia. Multiple reports of Voidborn command structures breaking down, Omar reported. Bioships are refusing orders, questioning command authenticity. Some battle groups are demanding emotional verification from their superiors. That was another unexpected advantage they discovered. The Voidborn had become so dependent on their emotional network that they didn't have any protocols for operating without it. Once trust was broken, they had no way to verify who they could believe. "Launch the final phase," Darius commanded. "Release the archived emotional packages." This was the masterstroke of Operation Mockingbird. Over the past weeks, they had been collecting and storing the strongest emotional responses from the Voidborn, their fury at being mocked, their shame at retreat, their fear of failure. Now they released these emotions back into the neural network, but attributed them to different sources. The effect was catastrophic. Voidborn commanders felt waves of fear they thought were coming from their troops. Soldiers experienced the rage they believed was flowing from their leaders. The entire command structure dissolved into an emotional storm of their own making. "Sir," Zara breathed, staring at her displays, they're turning on each other. The entire Voidborn fleet is fracturing. Above Earth, the massive alien armada that had once moved with perfect synchronization was now a chaos of individual units, each suspicious of the others, none willing to trust any command that came through the neural network. "Send word to Commander Harrison," Darius ordered. "Tell her Operation Mockingbird is reaching critical success. The Voidborn's greatest strength, their unity, is about to become their final weakness." As reports flooded in of alien ships attacking their own kind, of bioorganic weapons turned against their creators, of entire battle groups retreating in confusion, Darius watched the fruits of their labor unfold. The Voidborn had come to Earth expecting to find a primitive species. Instead, they found masters of psychological warfare who had turned their own technological superiority into a weapon against them. "Sir," Omar called out, "Dr. Reyes is requesting an update. She says the next phase of their research depends on our results." Darius nodded, already thinking ahead to the next stage of the war. Operation Mockingbird had succeeded beyond their wildest expectations, but it was only part of the plan. As the Voidborn tore themselves apart in confusion and paranoia, humanity's scientists were preparing something even more devastating. In the depths of the quantum research facility beneath the Australian outback, Dr. Jasmine Wong held her breath as the bioorganic sample pulsed with an eerie blue light. After months of studying the Voidborn's technology, they had finally cracked its fundamental secret. "Neural interface stable," her colleague Dr. Marcus Blackwood announced, monitoring the quantum field readings. "The human consciousness is successfully mapping to the alien biostructure." Before them, suspended in a containment field, a piece of salvaged Voidborn armor was slowly reshaping itself in response to human thought patterns. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, proof that humanity could not only understand their enemy's technology but control it. "Send the data to Commander Harrison," Jasmine ordered, her eyes never leaving the morphing biomaterial. "Tell her Project Mirror is ready for field deployment." The breakthrough had come from an unexpected direction. While studying captured Voidborn technology, they discovered that the aliens' bioorganic systems weren't just programmable, they were impressionable. Like clay waiting to be molded, they could be reshaped by strong enough willpower. First batch of neural interfaces ready for installation, Marcus reported. The elite pilots have already been selected and are en route to primary facilities worldwide. Their plan was audacious: use the Voidborn's own biotechnology against them, but powered by human consciousness instead of alien neural networks. Where the Voidborn relied on collective thinking, humanity would bring individual creativity and unpredictability. Incoming transmission from Luna Base, the facility's AI announced. Commander Harrison's hologram materialized in the lab, her expression a mixture of anticipation and concern. Please tell me you have good news, Dr. Wong. The Voidborn are adapting to Operation Mockingbird. They're starting to isolate portions of their neural network. Jasmine gestured to the floating bioarmor. We're ready, Commander. Project Mirror has exceeded our expectations. The human mind isn't just compatible with their technology, it's superior. Harrison's eyebrows rose. Explain. The Voidborn designed their biotech to work with their collective consciousness, Jasmine explained, pulling up comparative scans. But human minds, with their capacity for individual thought and creative problem solving, can push these systems far beyond their original parameters. We're not just using their technology, we're evolving it. How soon can we deploy? Marcus stepped forward. The first wave of enhanced pilots can be ready within 24 hours. We've modified the captured bioships to respond to human neural patterns. They'll be faster, more adaptable, and most importantly, completely independent of the Voidborn's network. Harrison nodded slowly. And you're certain our pilots can handle the neural load? We're asking them to mentally control living spacecraft. That's the beauty of it, Jasmine smiled. Humans have been preparing for this moment for centuries, through video games, virtual reality, neural interface simulations. Our minds are already trained to handle complex control systems. The Voidborn's biotech is just the ultimate expression of that capability. As if to emphasize her point, the floating armor suddenly sprouted a series of crystalline spikes, then smoothed them away, all in response to her passing thought. Launch the operation, Harrison commanded. I want our enhanced pilots in the field before the Voidborn realize what we've done. The next 24 hours were a blur of activity. Across the globe, specially selected pilots were connected to modified bioships. The neural interfaces, refined through countless iterations, allowed human consciousness to merge with alien technology while maintaining individual identity. The first combat test came sooner than expected. A Voidborn battle group, trying to exploit what they thought was a weakness in Earth's defenses, encountered something unprecedented, their own bioships, but moving with impossible agility and unpredictability. Combat telemetry coming in, Marcus announced, watching the battle unfold through satellite feeds. Our pilots they're incredible. The bioships are responding to human intuition in ways the Voidborn never imagined possible. The enhanced pilots weren't just flying the alien vessels, they were reimagining what they could do. Bioweapons morphed into new configurations mid-battle, armor patterns shifted to exploit enemy weaknesses, and most importantly, each ship moved with the creative unpredictability that only a human mind could provide. Send the combat data to Major Wells, Jasmine ordered. Operation Mockingbird needs to shift focus. Stop trying to confuse their network, make them watch what we're doing with their own technology. Let them feel the fear of seeing their greatest achievements turned against them. As reports of human victories began pouring in from around the world, Jasmine turned to the next phase of their research. Project Mirror had proven that humanity could adapt and improve Voidborn technology. The question now was, how far could they push this advantage? The answer, she suspected, would determine not just the outcome of this war, but the future of human evolution itself. Commander Naomi Harrison stood on the bridge of the modified Voidborn flagship, now christened Humanity's Dawn, watching Earth's combined fleet move into position. The massive bioorganic vessel, once the pride of the alien armada, now pulsed with the combined will of human consciousness. All enhanced pilots report ready, Lieutenant Raj Patel announced from his neural interface station. Dr. Wong's final modifications are integrated across all systems. The Voidborn's response to humanity's technological appropriation had been predictable: rage. Pure, unfiltered fury that cascaded through their neural network like wildfire. But that emotional response was exactly what humanity had been counting on. "Begin final broadcast," Harrison ordered. "Execute Symphony Protocol." Across space, Earth's defensive grid activated. But instead of weapons, they unleashed something far more devastating, a carefully orchestrated combination of everything humanity had learned about defeating the Voidborn. Dr. Reyes' emotional weapon carriers flooded the alien neural network with a precisely calibrated mixture of human feelings. Major Wells' Operation Mockingbird injected false tactical data that seemed to confirm the aliens' worst fears. And through it all, the enhanced pilots demonstrated just how thoroughly humanity had mastered Voidborn biotechnology. "Multiple enemy formations breaking apart," Patel reported. "Their command structure is collapsing faster than predicted." Harrison nodded, watching the tactical display. The Voidborn fleet, once a unified force of terrifying power, was dissolving into chaos. Some ships retreated, their crews overwhelmed by the emotional assault. Others turned on their companions, unable to distinguish friend from foe through their compromised network. "Signal from Dr. Wong," Patel announced. "Project Mirror's final phase is ready." This was the moment everything had led to. While the Voidborn were distracted by the combined assault on their neural network, humanity's scientists had prepared the ultimate demonstration of their mastery over alien biotechnology. "Execute final phase," Harrison commanded. "Let's show them true evolution." Across the human fleet, the modified bioships began to change. The individual vessels, each controlled by a human pilot's creative consciousness, started merging into larger structures. Not through the rigid, predetermined patterns the Voidborn used, but through fluid, artistic configurations that defied alien understanding. "Biomerge successful," Patel reported, awe in his voice. All pilots maintaining neural coherence while preserving individual control. Where the Voidborn saw technology as a means of enforcing unity, humanity had discovered how to create harmony from diversity. Each pilot maintained their individual consciousness while contributing to a greater whole, a symphony of human minds working in concert. The combined human fleet now formed a massive, unprecedented bioorganic structure that dwarfed even the largest Voidborn vessels. It was beautiful, terrible, and utterly impossible by alien understanding. "Their flagship is attempting to communicate," Patel announced. Harrison allowed herself a small smile. "Put them through." The Voidborn High Commander appeared on the main display, its elongated features contorted with a mixture of fear and disbelief. What are you?" "We are humanity," Harrison responded simply. "We take what we find, we understand it, we improve it, and we make it our own. You came here believing your evolution was superior. We've just proven otherwise." "You cannot control our technology this way," the alien protested. "It requires unity, collective consciousness." "No," Harrison corrected. "It requires creativity, adaptation, and the ability to find strength in our differences. Everything you saw as our weaknesses, our individuality, our emotions, our chaos, these are our greatest strengths." She gestured to the tactical display, where the remaining Voidborn ships were either retreating or surrendering. "Your mistake wasn't in underestimating our technology. It was in underestimating our ability to turn anything, even mockery, even defeat, into a weapon." The alien commander was silent for a long moment. When it spoke again, its voice carried the weight of revolutionary understanding. We submit." Harrison nodded. "Wise choice. Because if you hadn't, we would have shown you what happened when we really decided to get creative." As the formal surrender was transmitted across all frequencies, Harrison looked out at Earth, now safe behind its shield of hybrid bioorganic defenses. The Voidborn had come expecting to find an inferior species ready for conquest. Instead, they found humanity, masters of adaptation, turning weaknesses into strengths, finding humor in darkness, and proving that true evolution meant never stopping to learn, to grow, and to change. "Send word to all commands," she ordered. "The war is over. Operation Mockingbird, Project Mirror, and Symphony Protocol are all complete. Now comes the interesting part." "Ma'am?" Patel questioned. Harrison smiled. "Teaching the Voidborn how to laugh at themselves. After all, that's the first step in real evolution." As the combined human fleet began to separate back into individual vessels, each pilot carrying the experience of being part of something greater while maintaining their unique identity, Harrison reflected on how far they'd come. From mockery to mastery, from laughter to triumph, humanity had proven once again that its greatest weapon wasn't technology or military might, it was the ability to adapt, to create, and to find victory in the most unexpected places. The silence of space was no longer filled with the sound of battle. Instead, it carried the promise of a new chapter in human evolution, one where even the most serious threats could be overcome with creativity, courage, and perhaps just a touch of irreverent humor.